So if you reduce these losses, then your motor efficiency will be improved. In the motor, there are two losses mainly. Those are fixed losses and variable losses. Fixed losses, they will not depend on the load. So it is independent of the load. But variable losses depends upon the load. So based on the load, the losses will vary. And again, these fixed losses are divided into two types. Those are iron losses. Second one, friction and windage losses. Again, these iron losses are divided into two types. Those are hysteresis losses and eddy current losses. Variable losses are three types. Those are stator copper losses, rotor copper losses, and stray rod losses. First, I will give you the brief description on the motor. Then I will explain these losses. What are these losses and how we can reduce these losses? What are the design improvement we have to take? And what are the materials we have to choose to reduce these losses? Thereby, we can improve the efficiency of the motor. So before going to that, first you have to know about the motor. If you are an electrical student, no need to go about this topic. But you are not an electrical student, and anyway you studied the BW subject, but you forgot all these things. So that's why I'm repeating this motor. Listen this one. So without understanding this, you can't understand the losses. So motor is a device which converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So we have to give the electrical energy. So in motor, we have two main parts, that is called a field system and armature system. These two are the main parts in the motor. Field system will provide you the magnetic field, required magnetic field. And armature system is nothing but your conductor. We are giving electrical energy to the motor. So to which we are giving electrical energy? To this armature system, we are giving electrical input. Then how it is converting that electrical input into the mechanical energy? So I told you these two are the main parts. A field system is nothing but it provides you the magnetic field. So this is the magnetic field. But how this magnetic field will be provided in the motor? Then almost all the motors, it consists of electromagnets. Electromagnet means by means of electrical supply, we are creating the magnetic field. We are not using permanent magnets. We are using electromagnets in the motors. Electromagnet means by means of the electrical supply, the magnetic field will be created. That means whenever there is a current carrying conductor, whenever the current passes through a wire, then it produces a magnetic flux around this wire. That magnetic flux lines constitutes the magnetic field. So here, what I will do is, in the field system, it consists of a core material will be there. On this core, a field winding will be wounded. And to this field winding, we will give DC supply. Apart from this electrical input to the motor, we are giving DC supply to the field winding, and to that, so that field winding is wounded on the core, some core material. So that core material is a magnetic material. Remember this. So on this, the field winding will be wounded. And whenever you are giving DC supply, the current will circulate in this winding. And due to that current, the magnetic poles will be created. North pole and south pole. Now we have the magnetic field. These are the flux lines. Flux is flowing from north pole to south pole. You understand? Field system consists of a core, that is a magnetic material. So something should be there to hold the winding, right? So that's why we are using the core. On the core, we will wound the winding. Then we will give the DC supply to that winding. Then due to that DC supply, current will circulate in the winding. And due to that current, the flux will be produced. So this is the direction of the magnetic flux. So this complete thing is a field system. Next, armature system. Armature system is nothing but it is a wire. a conductor. So this also a winding will be there in the motor, armature winding, we call it as. In the same way, how we are winding the winding on a core in the field system. In the same way, in the armature system also, we have the winding, armature winding, and that armature winding will be wounded on the core. A core will be there, it consists of slots, and in those slots, your armature winding will be wounded. So armature system consists of again armature core and armature winding. And that armature, the complete armature, this complete thing is the armature system. So this armature system is placed in the magnetic field. The magnetic field produced by the field system. In that magnetic field, we are placing the armature. And to this armature, what we are giving? Electrical input. To the motor, the input is electrical. So we are giving electrical input to this armature. And that armature is placed in the magnetic field. Now what will happen? In the armature, we are giving electrical input. So the current will circulate in this armature winding. Due to this current, again some flux will be produced. Therefore, the armature flux, the flux produced by the armature is called the armature flux, and the flux produced by the field is called field flux. So let us assume this is pi f and pi a. We have two fluxes now, flux produced by the field winding and flux produced by the armature winding. These two fluxes interact with each other, then it creates a force. So like that, the motor starts rotating. So now coming to the losses. Now you understand what are the main parts in this motor. Field system, armature system. Field consists of core and winding. Armature consists of core and winding. So we have two fluxes, that is field flux and armature flux. So these things are necessary to understand the losses. Now coming to the losses. What are the first loss we have? Fixed losses. In the fixed losses, we have iron losses. Again, these iron losses are divided into these two types, hysteresis and eddy current losses. Now let's see what is hysteresis loss and what is eddy current loss, and how we can reduce those losses to improve the efficiency of a motor. First one is hysteresis loss. Why this loss is produced in the motor? Not only in motor, in any electrical appliance like transformers, generators, in all those, these hysteresis losses will be developed. Why? Because whenever there is a magnetic material, this hysteresis loss will comes into picture. Because magnetic material consists of magnetic dipoles. Every magnetic material. So magnetic material examples, steel, iron, these are all the examples for the magnetic materials. So that material, inside it, what it consists is the magnetic dipoles. Those dipoles will orient in different directions. This is the magnetic material and it's consisting of magnetic dipoles. These are called dipoles. Whenever you're giving some force by means of electrical supply, then what will happen? These dipoles will try to align in one direction. Because of that force, you're giving some voltage or current to this magnetic material, then those dipoles try to align in one direction. So whenever you remove that force, all the dipoles will come to their original position. Suppose if you are giving an alternating supply, AC supply, to the motor, AC supply is this one. The magnitude of the current will increase, after that decrease, and it reaches to 0. So the force created will also be like this. The force starts increasing, decreasing, and comes to 0. And again in the reverse direction, the force will increase, again decrease, and coming to 0 position. So due to this varying force, due to the alternating nature of the magnetization force given to the magnetic material, these dipoles keep on changing their direction. So due to that, some loss will be occurred. You're walking, some person is walking, he's going towards this and again coming back and again going to this, again coming back. What is the use of walking? He lose some energy, right? In the same way, these electrical dipoles, the magnetic dipoles will also lose some energy to change their direction continuously. And that loss you can be evidenced by heat. Whenever you touch the machine, you can sense that heat. Why that heat is produced? Due to this loss. This loss will be in the form of heat. So these are about hysteresis losses. So whenever there is a magnetic material, this hysteresis loss will be there. And how can we reduce this hysteresis loss to improve the efficiency? Are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you use the magnetic material that is a low loss core material, the magnetic material used for core should be a low loss core material. There is a steel. So then these losses can be reduced. Hysteresis losses. Then what about the eddy current losses? What is meant by eddy current loss and how it can be reduced? See, we have a field winding and armature winding, and that winding is wounded on the core, right? We have the magnetic field. This is produced by the field system, and in this we are placing the armature. And in this armature, we are giving the electrical input to this armature. Then it starts rotating. Now your armature is rotating in the magnetic field. This is your motor. Armature is rotated in the magnetic field. See, you may remember or not, EMF, electromotive force. In any conductor, how the EMF will be induced? This is given by Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. So when the EMF will be induced, it requires three things. One is it requires a conductor and flux or magnetic field, and there must be a relative motion between these two, flux and conductor. Relative motion means there must be a speed difference. Either conductor should rotate, a flux must be stationary, or the flux must be rotating, conductor must be stationary. Either one of those two must be stationary and one must be rotating. Then there exists a speed difference, that is called the relative motion. So if you have these three things, then EMF will be induced in this conductor. That is experimentally proven by Faraday. So that is what the Faraday's first law is, how the EMF will be induced. So why I'm explaining this EMF? To know about this eddy current loss. Now you understand this EMF, how the EMF will be induced. There must be a conductor, flux and relative motion. See, in this motor, we have the flux, the magnetic field is there. So this one is, we have this one. And conductor, your armature is nothing but the conductor. So conductor is there. And is there any relative motion between this flux and conductor? Relative motion exists or not between the flux and conductor?
Yes.
Yes. Your armature is rotating, and but flux is stationary. It is not changing its direction. Flux always flowing from north pole to south pole. The flux is stationary and the conductor is rotating. Therefore, a relative motion exists between the flux and conductor. Then what will happen? EMF will be induced in this conductor. We don't require that EMF. We need the mechanical energy, that's it. But in addition to that, EMF is inducing this conductor. Whatever the conducting part is there, not only the wire, armature core is also a conducting material. So in the armature core, due to this EMF is induced in the armature core. Then what will happen? Armature core is a closed one. There is no open path. So if EMF induced in this armature core, due to this closed nature, current will circulate. Whenever there is a voltage and if it is a closed circuit, then current will circulate in the circuit. If it is an open circuit, the current will not circulate. Current will become zero. But the armature is a closed path and EMF is there in the armature. Then current will circulate in the armature core. And this current is called the eddy current. This is unnecessary current. We don't require this current. But even then, we are getting the current in the armature. And that current is called eddy current loss. And the loss due to this current is called eddy current loss. Loss ante? Again, whenever there is a current, it produces heat. That heat loss is nothing but eddy current loss. If there is no current here, there will not be any heat loss. So some of the energy is wasted here because to produce this current. So these two are the iron losses, hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Then how can we reduce this eddy current loss? The current is inversely proportional to resistance. If you reduce this current, eddy currents, then the loss can be reduced, right? Then how can we reduce this current? By increasing the resistance. If you increase the resistance, the current will decrease. Then how can you increase the resistance? Again, the resistance formula, R is equal to rho L by A. The resistance will depends upon length and area of cross section. So to increase the current, what we have to do? We have to reduce the area of cross section. Identi armature core. Armature core lo manaki eddy currents vastunnai. So then you have to reduce the cross sectional area of that core. Then the resistance will be increased. If the resistance increases, your current will be reduced. Thereby, the eddy current losses will be reduced. Then how can we decrease the area of cross section of the core? Suppose if you have a book consisting of 100 pages, అది ఎలా ఉంటుంది? థిక్ గా ఉంటుంది. 100 pages ఉన్నాయి అంటే then that area of cross section of that book is more. Suppose between each and every page I put an insulation. Insulation means the current will not flow from one page to another page. Just I'm giving the example. So if the current is not flowing from one page to another page means the current will circulate in that page only. That means the area of cross section of a single page is very less compared to the 100 pages. If 100 pages are stick together, then the area of cross section is more. If you separate all the pages, then area of cross section is less. If the area of cross section is less, then the resistance will be increased. Thereby the current can decrease. Then how can we apply this to the armature? Suppose if the armature is like this, then we will use the armature as a laminated core. The core of the armature is a laminated core. These are called laminations. And between each and every laminated core, there will be an insulation. Just like your pages in the book. ఆర్మేచర్ కోర్ని ఏం చేస్తారంటే లామినేట్ చేస్తారు. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఆనియన్ తీసుకుని దాన్ని స్లైసెస్ గా కట్ చేస్తే ఎలా ఉంటుందో అలా ఉంటుంది. సో దట్ ఆర్మేచర్ కోర్ ఇస్ అ లామినేటెడ్ కోర్. Between each and every, all are the laminations. That entire core is a lamination. So between each and every lamination, there will be an insulation. Insulating material will be there. Therefore, the current cannot flow from one lamination to the another lamination. ఇలా లామినేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఈ మొత్తం ఒకవేళ లామినేషన్స్ లేవనుకోండి, ద ఏరియా ఆఫ్ క్రాస్ సెక్షన్ ఇస్ హై. ఇలా నేను లామినేట్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది? ఏరియా ఆఫ్ క్రాస్ సెక్షన్, ఈచ్ లామినేషన్ కి ఏరియా ఆఫ్ క్రాస్ సెక్షన్ ఏమవుతుంది? రెడ్యూస్ అయిపోతుంది. వై? బికాస్ ద కరెంట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఫ్లోయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ లామినేషన్ టు దిస్ లామినేషన్. సో దేర్ బై వీఆర్ రెడ్యూసింగ్ ద ఏరియా ఆఫ్ క్రాస్ సెక్షన్. So by using a laminated or by using laminations, we can reduce the eddy current losses. Use of laminations. And one more thing, use of thinner gauge material. This thinner gauge is the design specification. By using thinner gauge material, we can also reduce this iron losses. What is meant by gauge? Suppose if you want to measure something in terms of kgs or liters, we will measure, right? So in the same way, the thickness of the steel will be measured in terms of gauge, or a wire, thickness of a wire will be measured in terms of a gauge, just like your kgs and liters. So this is also one type of measurement. So using this thinner gauge material will also reduce the iron losses. So one thing is use of laminations and use of thinner gauge material, we can reduce the losses. And the materials with minimum flux density. These are all the design specifications and material specification to reduce the iron losses. Next, after iron losses, we have friction and windage losses. So what is meant by friction and windage losses and how we can reduce those losses to improve the efficiency. What is frictional losses? You may aware of these losses, I think. Mechanical students. Anyone know about this frictional losses? Whenever there is a moving part, this frictional losses will comes into picture. See, I have two objects, or I have an object, and this object is moving on this surface. This box, I am moving it on the surface. Then what will happen? There is a frictional force exists between this box and the surface. So whenever there is a moving part in the machine, this frictional loss will be exist. Frictional force is nothing but the opposing force. If the box is not moving, if it is stationary, there will not be any opposing force between this two. In the motor, the armature is rotating, right? The armature is rotating means there exists a frictional loss. And what about this windage loss? So due to the friction between these two, we are getting this frictional loss. And what about the windage losses? See, whenever you are cycling and the wind is flowing opposite to you, then can you cycle easily or will you feel it difficult? You're cycling towards this, but the wind is flowing in opposite direction. Can you do the cycling easily or do you feel any difficulty? If the wind is flowing in opposite direction, we will feel the difficulty for cycling. Why? Because that wind force opposing us. So here, between you and the wind, there is a force, frictional force. And that frictional force is nothing but the windage force, windage losses. Here between an object and a surface, there exists a force. But here, between an object and air, the friction between the rotor and air, rotor is nothing but armature. The frictional force between a rotor and air is nothing but the windage loss. So due to that, we will get the windage loss. And how can we reduce this friction and windage losses? So these can be reduced by using improved lubricating system, and high quality bearings. By using these two, we can reduce the frictional loss. And how can we reduce the windage loss? By using energy efficient fans, we can reduce the windage losses. So this is about friction and windage losses. We have to improve the lubricating system. That means high quality lubricating system we have to use, and high quality bearings also we have to use to reduce the frictional losses. So these are all about the fixed losses. They will not depend on anything. These are all constant losses. Next, variable losses. We have stator copper losses and rotor copper losses. Stator and rotor copper losses. What are these losses and how can we minimize these losses? So these losses are also called as I square R losses. Square of the current multiplied with resistance. I square R loss. Stator and rotor copper losses are also called I square R losses. See here, this is the resistance and this is the current. Resistance is the function of conducting material and area of cross section, length. That means the resistance will depends on the conducting material and length and area of cross section. It will depends on these three things. So how can we reduce these losses? But how these losses will be produced? So whenever there is a wire or current carrying wire, this loss will be occurred. So the current is flowing in the wire and this wire has some resistance. Therefore, I square or loss will be produced. In stator, we have field winding and we are giving current to that. So it is a current carrying wire. And in rotor is nothing but armature. So in the armature also we have armature winding and we are giving electrical input to that armature. So again we have a current carrying conductor, that is armature conductor. So therefore this copper loss will be occurred. If the current is not flowing in the wire, there will not be any loss. But we have to supply the current. Then how can we reduce the loss? By reducing this resistance, this I square R loss can be reduced. And that resistance is a function of these three: conducting material, length, and area of cross section. So suitable selection of copper conductor size will reduce the copper loss, or will reduce the resistance, thereby it reduces the I square R losses. You have to select a suitable copper conductor. Size of the conductor you have to choose. And this resistance, I already told you, resistance formula is rho L by A. It depends on length and area of cross section, and this is resistivity. So if area of cross section, if you increase the area of cross section, then the resistance will decrease. That means a larger rotor conductor increase the cross sectional area. If you choose the conductor bars in induction motor, aluminum bars will be there. Those are the rotor conductors. If you increase the area of cross section, or if you increase the area of cross section of this rotor conductor, then the resistance will be decreased. Almost in all the industries and commercial applications, we are using industrial induction motors only. In induction motors, the rotor conductors are these bars. It's not like a winding, it will be like a bar. So these are called rotor bars. So if you increase the cross-sectional area of these rotor conductors, then the resistance can be decreased. Thereby, I square R losses can be reduced. So what are the compensation methods to reduce these stator and rotor copper losses? We have to select the proper conductor size. Then the resistance will be reduced. Thereby, I square R losses can be reduced. And one more thing, you have to select rotor conductors with higher cross-sectional area in induction motor. Then it reduces the resistance. Thereby, we can reduce the I square R losses. Then the last one is stray load losses. So these losses are minimum losses in the motor that are 4 to 5% of the total losses. But copper losses are the highest losses. That is 55 to 60% of the loss in the total loss. 55 to 60% are the copper losses. So for reducing this stray load losses, but why these losses will be occurred? Because of short circuit currents in the coil, that is in the armature coil. The cause is short circuit currents or distortion of flux. See, from the north pole to south pole, the flux is flowing like this in the straight lines. But if the flux is distorted, that means the direction of flux is, if it flowing like this, this is called distortion of flux. So due to this distortion of flux and short circuit currents, this stray load losses will be occurred, and these are very minimum, and it is complicated to calculate also these losses. Then how can we reduce these losses? By minimizing the overhang. Do you know about overhang? Overhang of the conductors. If it is a field or armature, it consists of slot. In those slots only we are winding the winding. Suppose if you have a slots like this, the conductor I am taking from here and I'm placing in this slot. Next, I'm placing in this slot. Like this, I'm winding the conductor in the armature. So this is the slot. In between these, we have the conductor. This is the active length of the conductor, actually participated in the electromechanical conversion. See this part, this is called the overhang. This is not actually in the slot, outside of the slot. This part is called the overhang. It is not used. So by minimizing the overhang of this conductor, we can reduce the stray load losses. And by using optimum slot geometry means this is the slot, this entire thing is a slot. If you use the optimum slot geometry, then also we can reduce the stray load losses. That means you should not waste the slot geometry. You have to use in an optimum way. Then we can reduce the losses. Then how can we reduce the losses then? By decreasing the distortion of flux. The main cause is the distortion of flux. Why the distortion of flux is taking place? Because of you are not utilizing the slot geometry in an optimum way. Then it causes to distortion of flux or the leakage flux. then the stray load losses will be occurred. So these are all about losses. By changing the design specification or by changing the material, we are reducing the losses, motor losses. Thereby, the motor efficiency can be improved. Let's see a standard motor and energy efficient motor, how it saves the energy. If the efficiency is improved, can we save the energy or can we save our money? Let's see with an example. And we are doing some modifications to improve the performance of the motor, right? To reduce the losses, we are doing some modifications. Thereby, the efficiency is improved. But as a result of these modifications, the cost of the energy efficient motors will become high. You are doing some modifications, right? So for that, you have to invest something. Then the cost of the motor will be increased. So compared to the standard motor, the cost of the energy efficient motor will be increased. So I'm taking a 3.7 kilowatt motor. That means this is the output of the motor, 3.7 kilowatt, and efficiency is 85%. This is the standard motor. And I'm taking an energy efficient motor. The same rating, 3.7 kilowatt, two motors, same rating. And this is a standard motor and this is energy efficient motor. So because this energy efficient motor, it has a more efficiency than the standard motor, it is 88.3%. And the cost of energy efficient motor is 9,380 rupees. And for standard motor, the cost is 7,215. See the difference in cost. Obviously, the energy efficient motor cost is high because we are doing some modifications in this. That's why the cost is more. And efficiency is also more for the energy efficient motor. Suppose I'm operating these two motors 16 hours per day. I want to compare these two motors. Will it save the energy or not? 16 hours per day and 300 days per year. And energy rate, that means the cost or the money we are paying per 1 unit is 4.50 per kilowatt hour. This kilowatt hour is nothing but 1 unit. So 1 unit of consumption of electricity, we are paying 4.50 rupees. This is the energy rate. Now I want to calculate the annual savings by using energy efficient motor. How much amount of energy I can save? Efficiency means we know the formula, it is output by input. So let's calculate the input for the standard motor and input for the energy efficient motor. Input for standard motor is equal to output by efficiency. What is the output of the standard motor? 3.7 kilowatts. And what is the efficiency of the standard motor? 85%. So that is 0.85. Then the input is 4.352 kilowatts. If you calculate this, you will get 4.352 kilowatts. That is the input for the standard motor. So this much of input it is taking. And if you calculate the input for energy efficient motor, output by efficiency again, output is 3.7 kilowatt, the same output it is also giving, but efficiency is 88%, means 0.883. Then the input is 4.19 kilowatts only. See the difference. Energy efficient motor taking less input than the standard motor. This is 4.19, but it is 4.35. So there is a little difference only. So difference in input between the two motors is 4.35 minus 4.19. You will get 0.162 kilowatts. So this is the difference in input. It is very less if you see the number, but how much amount of energy it is saving, that's what we have to see. If you calculate the annual energy savings, how much amount of energy it is saving per year, that is 0.162 into per day 16 hours and 300 days per year. Multiply those two, then you will get the annual energy saving. So 777.6 kilowatt hours. This much of energy you can save per year. Then what will be the cost saving? To get the cost saving, you have to multiply with cost 777.6 into 4.5. The cost is 3,514 rupees. See, if you see the difference between the inputs, only 0.16 kilowatt. But if you see the cost saving per year, that is 3,000 rupees, you can see. If the motor lifespan is 20 years, how much amount of money you can save, you can think it. So that's why we have to use the energy efficient motors rather than the standard motors. Even though the initial cost is high for the energy efficient motors, it will give you the cost saving throughout the lifespan of the motor. That is very high compared to the initial investment. So this is about energy efficient motor, how to improve the efficiency of the motor. After improving the efficiency, if you compare with the standard motor, how it is saving the energy.